have all of the conditions that were placed on the developer at the time of that the council approved that preliminary plat. The development was in 3 stages. We have yet to see any significant work done on phase 1. And that, I believe, council, do you remember the extension was for
5 years? No, 3 years. It was for the end of 2027,
okay.
I believe, when we issued that extension.
So I'm just asking if any of the subdivisions that have come into town have they been, I mean, did they contribute to any of the costs of the water lines being installed?
The one that is most active, which is on the north side, that developer is operating under an intent. The city has an intent to annex that property, and the requirements for that development was that that the developer install the water and sewer lines.
Okay, but that's within the development. Why is the city going to annex them from that and not have them be responsible for helping pay for some of our water lines?
So the developer will have installed the water and sewer lines, and when the residences are built and they tap into those water and sewer lines, those residents will be assessed the water and sewer rates the same as any other resident.
So you guys are just charging them a tap fee versus charging them for the new water line that's being installed.
The developer will have paid for that new water line.
The one that we're all being charged for?
And then the rates that the residents pay, the future residents pay, the same as every other resident and business in the town. Part of that money goes to pay the debt service, part of it goes to pay the operating expenses, and part of it will be reserved for future repairs and replacements. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Amanda Stiles. This conversation leads me into one of my questions I have for you guys. Was the construction of the water tower driven by the current system deficiencies, or is it all for the future growth projects? Is that why we needed it for all these subdivisions?
The current deficiencies. As you recall, one of my first comments was that our current water tower holds 200,000 gallons, and DEQ requires actually that for our community we should have 1 million gallons in storage.
Okay. And is that a public letter from the DEQ?
Yes, it is contained in this document, which describes the existing system, provides you the dates of construction of the water tower, the 3 wells that the city has, also does some environmental assessments, and this is available to anyone who would like to read it. We also have similar binders with respect to the grants that we received from the state with respect to funding this. So we have grants, we had the city's allocation of ARPA funding. The county could not use all of its ARPA funds, so transferred approximately $750,000 to the city for use in this water system.
And you said you owe about $7.2 million back.
That is the Series B bond from the state revolving fund, which is a federal program administered by the Department of Environmental Quality, and I believe Department of Natural Resources and Conservation also participates in that. And it's a revolving fund, so the money that initially came from the federal government was loaned out to communities for projects such as this. As those funds come back into that program, they're available then to be reloaned to future communities for future needs.
Okay, and so should residents expect our water rates to decrease or continue rising or stay the same? Or when it's repaid back, will our water rates go back down?
We will be reviewing the water rates. The current rate structure was put into place based on DEQ's analysis of the amount of money that we need to have on hand to pay debt service at any given point in time. and I've said more than once in meetings such as this, that we will continue looking at the water rates, and if we can, we will lower them. As to when or whether that will happen, it is way too soon to tell.
Mhm. Do you review about once a year the rates, or?
We will be reviewing them after all is said and done, when we know exactly what our level of indebtedness is. Because as I said, it is possible that the project will come in under what we have been authorized to spend.
And that, I guess, is one of the, maybe a rumor I've heard around town, and that the public also asked me to ask you guys, was we've heard that the project is being over budgeted by about $1.4 million. I don't know if you
I
have
am not sure why anybody would say that, because I will tell you that no one comes into this office and asks the questions that you are asking right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I was like, we gotta get to the
But
bottom of this.
that actually is part of my point,
Yeah.
is that some of the discussion we're having tonight may not have been necessary had more people participated in the public hearings.
I agree.
Yes, sir?
My name is Will Park. Do you know what the expected pressure increase will be, and is it similar to other city systems?
It is expected to increase to about 75 PSI. Is that
Between
right?
75 and 78.
Between 75 and 78.
On the extreme high end of average.
That average is 72.
Right.
So the phrase
No,
extreme high.
80 is starting to get a little too much from what my research has shown. So we're going to be pushing a little too much. Will the
Thank you.
city
Mr. Gibson, would you
infrastructure handle it?
hold that thought, please? Mr. Parker, were you finished?
I was finished. It makes me think about all of the other cities that have homes that are that old that deal with similar pressures. So I understand the cost aspect of why everybody's concerned, but from a contractor standpoint, I'm not too worried about the pressure system. So.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson?
Is the current city infrastructure going to be able to handle the extreme pressure, close to extreme pressure? I know the city infrastructure isn't much better than mine.
So, Eric, would you like to respond to that?
It's the simple response is we've been talking to other cities who have gone through water tower projects, and with the similar pipe that they've had, they've never had much problem with the similar pipe that we have. So, of course, we're going to find the weak links. We're going to find some galvanized pipe that's probably going to leak, but yeah, there's going to be problems, but I'm not overly worried at all.
Thank you. Yes,
Eric.
Councilman Simon, and then Councilman Bowles.
As part of this project, there were significant, replacements to problem infrastructure, like what hydrants and other problem areas.
Yeah, hydrants and valves that didn't work. Yeah. So when those valves have been replaced, those hydrants have been replaced, so, yeah.
I believe we replaced 37 fire hydrants. Approximately.
37 or 47? That's a bunch.
Quite a few. Yes. Councilman Bowles?
So, my house was built in 1893. So I'm kind of in the same boat with a lot of people with super old houses and super old piping and things of that nature. I don't really know what is going to happen to a lot. My basement might be swimming. When I found out that this pressure increase was going to happen was at a city council meeting, I think, when it was kind of discovered what those numbers were going to be. And so I'm like, oh shit, well, I better figure out what I gotta do to,
Thank you, Councilman, you're on record.
I just, me, I shoot from the hip. So, it is, I wish we could give more notice and know all of these things ahead of time. Even sitting in the seat, it's things just come up and you're like, well, all right, I gotta deal with this the best way that I can. And so, we looked at what we have to do and talked to some plumbers and also let some of those plumbers know and, to talk to some people about and preparing for the influx that was going to happen. And then as a council, we tried to get that word out as quickly as possible through the different avenues that we have. Unfortunately, not everyone uses the same avenues of communication today. I wish we saw more participation at these meetings. We simply do not. We've had a seat open in Ward 1 for over a year and a half. So if you live in Ward 1 and you would like to help out, it would certainly be appreciated. And I'm sorry that this has happened, but we're all in this boat together.
Mayor,
Yes.
and I'm in a similar situation with my house. It was built before the 1900s, upgraded sometime in the 70s, but there's a mix down there. So, this is something my family's gonna have to go through too, and Ms. McKenna, I apologize for getting a little heated there. But what I will say is, we are absolutely cognizant that many of the homes that could potentially be affected by this have residents that are often the least likely able to pay. Okay, that's the major crux of the issue, and we've had these discussions already. I believe that Rotary is looking at some sort of program. JB, can you elaborate on that? I mean, there are discussions about the affordability aspect of this, and I don't know where that sits at this particular point, if that's proper to comment, but.
Do you mind, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Two of us have tried to help. Townsend Hardware is providing the valves at a cost plus 50 cents in an effort to try to get as many out as is practical to people. Rotary I approached Rotary, I approached RMDC and asked them if they could help with the fixed income and low income members of the community. And Rotary is working through the process of stepping up to do that. They hope that they can help hundreds, but they're working through their budget to find out just how much help they can provide. There's also the complexity of ensuring that the people who need it are the people who are getting it, versus an issue of convenience. And I approve of their trying to work through that problem. They're working as quickly as they can. Rotary has a fairly strict parliamentary procedure. We actually hold to parliamentary procedure quite a bit more loosely than they do. So they're moving as quickly as they can. We're helping, but it's not easy.
I also have had a citizen that lives not within the city limits, but within the county, approach me and is talking to me about her willingness to purchase pressure valves to donate to the people that are in need. And so it is something that several of us.
That's actually good to hear.
Yeah, it's great. People are wanting to help those that are less fortunate.
So my understanding is.
Mr. Gibson,
I'm sorry?
you should ask permission to speak. I will recognize you and then you can speak. Mr. Gibson.
Thank you. My understanding is that there's more than just a pressure valve that has to be put on many houses. I think all of them, but I can't say that because I'm not a plumber. It's just a matter of the research I've done for my own place. And stopping the pressure at the income where the water comes into the house is part of it, but that also makes the house a closed system.